things like this. Those damn niggers is what they speak. I'm imitating them. They say things like, I'm gonna get me a nigger and I'm gonna kick his ass. That environment, the expressions, the facial movements are picked up by the environment. It's not human behavior, it's the environment we come from which generates behavior. Now, if you're brought up in Italy, you say, come on, they eat, there's a booger food. Now, that is not, that's the way you would speak if you were brought up there. Vive la France, Deutschland over alles, Germany above all. Now, we are victims of culture, all of us. That's why we have a distorted view. We believe that some people are good, some are bad, some are creative, some are less creative. All that's bunk. Everyone can be creative. Now, they tell you in your schools that plants grow. That's a lie. They need water, sunshine, soil, moisture, gravity, all those things. Without them, the plant doesn't move. They tell you that sailboats sail. They don't sail, they're acted upon by the wind. There is nothing in the earth today that is not acted upon by resident forces, meaning your way you think, the way you move, your facial expressions. Girls behave differently than men, not because they're women. Because if a normal boy is brought up by 6 women, very feminine women, and they say, oh, did I see a gorgeous hat? That boy will speak just that way. And if you're brought up in France, you'll speak with a French accent, or a French-English accent. If you live in France 10 years, you move to Germany, you live there 10 years, you speak with a German-French accent. Not a thing you can do about it. So your facial expressions and your language was designed hundreds of years ago. That's why we can't talk to each other. We talk at one another, not to one another. Now, a lot of people don't understand that, so I'll say that the Bible, when you read it, he says Jesus meant this. He says, oh no, he meant that. And the third person says, you're both wrong. That's why you have the Seventh-day Adventist, the Catholic, the Presbyterian, because the Bible is subject to interpretation. All our language is a lot of stuff. It's subject to interpretation, except chemistry, physics, mathematics, engineering is not subject to interpretation. When engineers talk to each other, they talk of the tensile strength, compression strength, torsional strength, so the language is not subject to interpretation. And if you take a blueprint of an automobile from America and bring it to Japan, they turn out the same product, not subject to interpretation. So it appears that most of the language of science and technology is not subject to interpretation. When you talk to somebody, I say, I think this is what he means, and it goes through their head and comes out different. He says, that's not what I meant. Of course you're going to have trouble. A lawyer is a guy that takes language, twists it around to any way he wants to. If he's skilled at it, he can knock you out, put you in jail. A lawyer would be considered a criminal in the future. So would all bankers, and all businessmen, and all politicians. Don't forget, you're brought up to believe that King Solomon was a great guy. He had 1,000 wives. He'd be arrested today as a bigamist. So all the things that you're taught, they teach you to fit in with this culture. All civilizations are established, and they're established on the basis that kept those in power, so they still run the show. Now, I'm not saying they're good or bad, they've been conditioned to that. It seems normal to them. So if you were raised by the headhunters of the Amazon as a baby, and I went to you and said, doesn't it bother you to have 10 shrunken heads? She says, yes, my brother has 20. Is he bad? No, that's the way he was brought up. So you see, there's no such thing as thinking things over. You think within the context of the way you were brought up. If you ask an Eskimo, what do you want? You can have anything you want. He can't say a stainless steel air conditioner. It is not within his environment. So it's very hard for so-called normal people to step outside of the environment. if you ask an Eskimo, do you ever dream of walking on a palm fringed beach with coconuts and sunshine? He said, I don't know what you're talking about. He's not a bad guy. Now, in the early days in the Roman Empire, I am told that they used to feed Christians to lions. But first they would starve the lions to make a better show. Then they would take the clothes off the Christians so it would be easier for the lions to tear them to pieces. Now the family would come Saturday and Sunday to see Christians being fed to lions. And the kids would say, Daddy, can we come next week to see Christians being fed to lions? That is if you behave yourself. Are these kids sick? No. They're normal to that culture. The Nazis, Heil Hitler, are normal to that culture. There are no good or bad people. There are no corrupt people or dishonest people, creative people, lazy people. All that's bunk. If you're raised in a society that understands human behavior, you don't have those variations. You can block them through education. Not the education you get. That's mostly propaganda. They condition a man to become an engineer, another man a chemist, another man a physicist. And when we go to war, the physicists in Germany fall in line with that culture. In Italy, they fall in line with that culture. In America, the scientists fall in line. If they were scientists, really scientists, they would wonder what war is. Why do people kill each other? What is a serial killer? What makes them that way? They don't fall in line. Your business is to listen to me, and if there's anything you don't understand, please, during the question period, question the hell out of me. Don't accept anything I say unless I can provide sources of information. So far, I just want to tell you a little bit more about people. When you study architecture, all the houses, as a rule, have a pointy roof. That's conventional. Architects do not design cities for people. They design for business. They design things that will sell. It's an ego problem. They design the tallest building. So when they invited Roxanne and myself to Dubai, they wanted me to come in and design the tallest building in the world and the most modern city in the world and a theme park. I said, why do you want the tallest building in the world? We want to be better than the United States. It's like infantile. The princes are assholes. All these people don't understand society. They do not. You must design for human comfort, and you must design cities with art centers, music centers, cultural centers. I can only talk a little bit about America because that's where I'm from. I don't like our country. It's completely corrupt. And that's for most civilizations today. They're all corrupt. I'm sorry to say that. I don't like what I'm saying. I wish it were otherwise. So what I want to tell you is that we are brought up in a system called established. Established means it serves the interests of the lead group, the control group. What we really need is an emergent society. Emergent society means that there's no utopia, no fixed system. If I were to design a city, and that city would be a straitjacket to the kids of the future, they'll design their own cities. So if you make a statue of me, you'll hold back society. There are no great men, no great women. All people are creative, but they're not brought up to know what that means. I want to give you, most of your language should be subject to definitions, clear definitions, and we don't have that. When we say we have a great nation, what do you mean by that exactly? Another person says to me, I believe in freedom. I believe in participatory democracy. So I say, do you really believe that? They say yes. So I said, did you vote for the Vietnam War? I guess not. Did you vote for the space program? I guess not. Did you vote for highway design, the Capitol building, procedural systems? No. That's just bullshit. I'm sorry. But they give you that to maintain control. There's no bad language here. Maybe a few young ladies drop a pie, you say, fiddly-dee. The man might say shit. That means, I'm sorry I dropped the pie. It has nothing to do with people money. There are no bad words. Your society tries to control you continuously. through radio, television, news. Now,